to set some rules for their children, but what if those rules are harming your kids' social standing? Studio 10 regular Dr. Justin Coulson faced a very difficult time when his 16-year-old daughter wasn't invited to a friend's party because the rules Justin had put in place. So should you relax and loosen the rules or stand firm? That is today's very interesting Daily Dilemma, and Justin joins us this morning from Kids Spot. Why are you nervous about this?
Oh, well, when you're sitting in the car and your daughter says, I wasn't invited to that party last week because of, you know, in fact, the words were, my friend said it was a party that Dr. Justin Coulson wouldn't approve of. Oh. And you just kind of go, oh, what am I doing to my children? You know, but I know that the rules are good. And
so why wasn't she invited to the party? What was the rule that...
Well, the kid, her friends, she wasn't so mad at me. She was mad that her friends didn't give her the opportunity to choose for herself whether she would attend or not. She actually...
So they didn't even ask her?
No, they just said, well, you know what, there's going to be alcohol, there's going to be drugs, there's going to be sex. Chanel won't be allowed to go because, you know, Dr. Justin won't.
You've got a rule against drugs, alcohol and sex?
I know. What sort of a parent am I?
You monster.
Gosh.
So what did you do then?
Well, we had a chat about
sex,
it.
drugs and rock and roll and
they're
drink, and they're 16. No,
Yeah. No.
I wouldn't let them
She
go
doesn't need
either.
to be friends with them anyway.
Well,
Exactly. It's probably a party you don't want your child to
it is the
attend.
party you don't. But when we force our kids to do stuff, whether it's devices or friends or alcohol and that sort of stuff, the more we force them to not do something, the more that becomes forbidden fruit.
Right.
Desirable.
Yeah, they want it because we're saying they can't have it and everybody else has got it. And so what we need to do with our children is, rather than controlling them, give them choice. And say, you know, if I wasn't here and you were responsible for your little brothers and sisters, what would you want them to do? What do you think's appropriate if I was away? What would you do then if it all came down to you? And invite them to make up their own minds. Sometimes they'll make poor decisions, but most of the time, when we're talking to them and they're calm, they'll actually make good decisions. If they're not calm, they'll rebel because stuff.
Or they'll tell you the right decision and then just go and do it anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't understand why, like when I was a teenager and all my friends, you didn't go to you went to parties where there was sex and drugs and alcohol, but you didn't go to your parents and say, hey Dad, I'm just off to a party with some sex, drugs and alcohol. I'll see you about, 3 in the morning. Like you actually... You just went.
Yeah. Because your parents say, if I ever catch you going to one of those parties, so help me, and you say, don't worry, you'll never catch me going to one of those parties. I'm much sneakier than that.
Then what is the answer? How then did you manage this situation where your daughter basically did not feel that she was missing out in not going?
Yeah, pretty simple. You talk to them like you might talk to an employee who's going through a difficult time, or to a valued friend that's going through a difficult time, and rather than telling them how it's going to be, you say, well, why do you think the rules are there? And do we need to reevaluate the rules? What's the value of the rules? And she was great. She said to me, Dad, I know why the rules are there. We don't need to go over this again because we've been over it a lot. And in fact, she was integral in the way we put the rules together. They're not my rules, they're our rules.
Yeah.
And then I just simply asked her, do you think that we should talk about changing the rules? And after a couple of moments, she was quiet and she said, Dad, they're good rules. I don't like them, but they're good rules.
And that's a compliment to you. It's
Yeah,
a compliment to you that you had that open relationship.
I know, but it's a compliment to her because we want our kids to choose for themselves.
Justin, thank you. We'll look at some feedback before we let you go this morning from our lovely viewers. Sally Ann says, stand firm for your kids' sake. Not enough of it is happening these days. Kids are out of control.
Kids need parents, yeah.
And Robin, at 16, it is a teenager's job to negotiate to change the rules. It should be an ongoing discussion and based on the level of maturity and responsibility shown with handling existing rules before any rules are lessened.
Spot on.
That's what you said.
Well
That's it, yeah.
said, Robin. And finally, this from Debbie. When my children were growing up, I set the rules and only I could change them. No begging or buts from them. Now I have respectful adults. I think kids love boundaries too.
They need it,
Justin,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yay.